Every motorcyclist must have heard of the great Japanese speed war. Yamaha, Honda and Kawasaki were all battling each other in a pole measuring contest to see which was the fastest. In 1989, Yamaha released the FZR1000 Sub, their last entry into this top speed war. They didn't last long, and a few years later, Kawasaki quickly stole their title.
Ever since then, Yamaha never came back to fight this war. Instead, they decided to focus on other battles. And this is how we get to this bike, a Yamaha FZ6N, or to be more specific, my Yamaha FZ6N.
Especially in the early 2000s, the 600cc naked bike class became a top seller. Honda's Hornet was flying off the showroom floors, and Yamaha desperately needed to update its range in order to be able to compete. And so they came up with this, an inline-4 fuel-injected 600cc motorcycle that promised to do everything and do it well.
Yamaha released two versions, a naked one and a sports touring one, both being incredibly similar, with the exception of the awkward-looking fairings of the tourer.
Its rivals were fierce, and the Honda Hornet was not the only kamikaze putting its aim on Yamaha. And so they went to the drawing board and came up with something that could have come out of MV Agusta's secret stash.
The aggressive headlight was combined beautifully with a discreet undertail exhaust. They included a featureful digital dash, and to make it look more unique and funky, they decided not to put it in the center of the bars.
Nope, the MT-09 didn't do it first. As cool as the side-mounted dash is, Yamaha had to find a way to somehow ruin it, didn't they?
With all these cool, sporty and aggressive features, it makes you wonder, when exactly did Grandpa take over the design? I mean, sure, the rear handles for the passenger are useful, but this wants to be a sports naked bike. Swing arm is pretty usual, the fuel tank looks like it has a bulge on top of it, and the seat, while comfy, looks like my nanny's armchair.
And the worst thing is, they decided to put suspension that was pointing the wrong way up. Heck, even my 4 years older Ducati Monster 600 had upside down suspension. I kind of expected it to have it as well. In order to understand this bike's true nature, you have to come to a place like this, where twisty and narrow roads just rule the kingdom.
When you're on the bike, you tend to completely forget about the lack of an upside-down suspension. The chassis is nice, responsive and agile, and when you get to a turn, it feels really stable around the corners.
Also, you can always count on the brakes, and with some good pads in there, you start to see their resemblance with the R6 calipers. Luckily, the brakes are not the only thing that this young sibling stole from its supersports brother.
It stole its heart as well. The engine in this is the same power plant found in the Yamaha R6, just a little bit detuned. Now Yamaha said they gave it more low-down grunt. I mean, whether that's true or not, it's debatable. But the engine itself, like the base, is the R6 engine, and that's a good thing. The thing is, it's when you rev this bike that it really comes into its element. You feel like you're approaching the 14,000 RPM limit when you have so much more to go because you're nowhere near there. And the sound, sure, you hear inline fours everywhere, but this one is a bit more raspy, it's a bit more raw, and I have the stock exhaust on it, but I don't know, it makes you feel really nice. So when you're on it, when you're up there in the RPM, that's when this bike comes to life, and that's where you want to be with it.
You might think that Yamaha developed a perfect engine back then, but these moments of high RPM fun are just a small side of the story. You see, fuel injection on motorcycles was just starting to become a thing, and man was it clunky. At high revs, the FZ6 would just snatch the throttle out of you and it would unbalance the motorcycle. Also, the stock throttle play was pretty bad, and what this combo meant that basically whenever you were deep into a corner and then you would get back on the throttle, there was always a nasty chance of snatching your rear wheel into a low side. Sure, some of these issues were rectified with aftermarket mods or with the updated S2 version a few years later, but still, Yamaha was a little bit early and a little bit unprepared on this one, I'm afraid.
Despite this, the bike offered a lot of all-round capabilities. On the highway it holds up to the speed limit with ease, wind protection is non-existent, bad even for naked bike standards, but the engine itself doesn't rev that high in stall 6th gear. You can also easily tour on it. To prove this point, I started in my hometown and picked a route of several hundred kilometers in a day.
Yep, up here in the mountains the sitting position is upright and comfy and nothing to really complain about. Also, I get a really decent range. I mean, I get about 300 kilometers between stops, and I think that's really decent, especially for a standard bike. What this bike really uncovers is a workhorse underneath cheetah clothing. Its engine is tried and tested, and the reliability can really speak for itself. It's exactly what you would expect out of Japanese engineering. It seems to be the ideal compromise. It's comfortable when you need it, it's agile in the turns, it's plenty powerful for touring or even sports riding. It tries to do so many things that it loses its focus, and that's this bike's biggest issue. Its level of confusion approaches the one of a teen trying to choose a college to go to. I mean, yes, the power boom up top is exciting, but you're on the street, you're rarely gonna go to the dark place anyways, and as good as the power feels up top in the revs, as disappointing it is down low.
Below 7,000 RPM, this engine doesn't do much, and for a street bike, it's neither practical nor fun.
Oh, but it's performance oriented. Yes, performance. That's where the revs come into play.
Is what you might say if Yamaha didn't put these ugly handles, a snatchy throttle, or the lack of an upside down suspension.
It's thin and agile as a great commuter, but it lacks the low-end grunt of a great commuter. And I'm not saying Yamaha is the only manufacturer that's guilty of this, but that doesn't help me in any way, shape or form when riding around the city.
So it's not the perfect commuter, not the perfect tourer, neither it is the perfect sports bike, but it does everything okay, and this is the disappointing thing.
This bike is just really easy to forget. I mean, it does everything okay, but it doesn't do something special, something memorable. As much as I hate the word, it kind of lacks character. I loved my older, cheaper, objectively worse Ducati Monster way more, because it could touch you in places of your soul that this bike unfortunately just can't reach.